Good morning. Welcome to Ramblings with Joe. AI is on my mind again. It's going to be a rough one. This is going to be a paradigm shift the likes of, we've never seen before. There are going to be a lot of people out of work. We're going to have to adjust our thinking. Yesterday, I was listening to a conservative talk show host, and he was talking about we can't just start giving people a basic income. And I thought, I don't see another way around it. I really don't. Normally, I am anti-government stepping in. And I'm really kind of anti-government stepping in on this too, but in a hybrid sort of way. But it's coming, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. The genie is out of the bottle. The toothpaste is out of the tube. We can't put it back in. The estimate right now is we have 700 data centers worldwide. There's between that many and 1,300 in expected construction. This is not how they're measuring it. How they're measuring, the reason they're not exact on the numbers is because they measure it by gigawatts needed. And that's really what's slowing down the building of these data centers, which are going to power everything. So blue-collar workers, they're the ones that are going to be the least affected by this right off the bat, right up until robots become more efficient and more affordable. But the problem is, this time, AI is not coming after, or technology is not coming after the blue-collar worker. That's always been the case in the past. Technology advancements always takes labor and makes it easier. And that takes the labor-intense occupations off the table a little at a time. Instead of having to have, 5 horse-drawn plows, now you've got one huge tractor that can do it all. That's technology advancing. That's how you lose those jobs. This time, it's coming after you white-collar workers. This time, technology may start from the top, or at least middle management down. Like I said, there was a talk show that I was listening to, and they were talking about AI taking the place of application designers. That's not labor intensive as far as muscles go. Management, you guys need to worry. Normally, everybody's trying to cut out the labor because that's what costs companies the most. This time, it's going at the heart of the management, non-earning parts of companies. So I had a business gentleman explain to me once that there's a bunch of different categories, but the main 2 categories are company earners and company support staff for those earners. And this AI, it's going to impact the company support staff, the ones that don't bring money in but are necessary to manage and support. And in my occupation, the truck drivers are the actual earners, the ones that bring the money into the company. Everything else is a support mechanism for that job. So dispatchers organize the load distribution out to the public. The truck driver delivers it, picks it up. This is a hard thing for a lot of people to accept, that management can be replaced very easily by AI. But that's really where it's coming. That's where it's going to happen. That's where it's going to really impact the industry, my industry, and your industry initially. Managing schedules, that's nothing for AI. I can go on AI right now and ask it to create a workout system for me. The problem isn't really what can AI do. The problem is, what are we going to do about AI? What are we going to do for the billions of people that are no longer employed? So the gentleman that I was listening to said he could not fathom the idea that we would have a universal basic income, a UBI, if you will. And I understand his point of view. It is difficult. It is really hard to change and to accept that something might have to change. The companies that are going to replace everybody with AI are going to have to accept a different employment strategy. I'm not sure what it is, and I've thought about it a lot, but the idea that these companies can just do away with vast swaths of employees and not have a plan in place, have these people have some kind of income and not consider it welfare. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm really not. I'm not sure, because there are so many people, as I used to be, that are in the boat of, no, we can't just give people money for nothing. We can't just, look, if there's just not any jobs to have worldwide, if there's nothing for anybody to do to make income, we're not talking about unemployment here. We're talking about such a huge shift in how the economy functions that we all need to, I keep using this term, but it just fits so many situations. We all need to take a couple steps back and re-examine how this is going to work. We cannot allow humanity to enter a dystopian future where the whole world is now third world. We shouldn't be allowing third world countries to exist at all. And I'm not saying we should do away with them. What I'm saying is we should definitely be encouraging them to come out of that, economic hole. So here's my thoughts. And the transition is going to be painful. The transition, as I said in the previous podcast, I think that we may have to go through that dystopian before we get to the AI societal norm of happiness, or I don't want to call it paradise, because that's not what it's ever going to be. It's going to be an AI-driven economy where people are allowed to do things without having to worry about labor. That's really where we're headed. And if we're not headed toward that, we are headed toward a dystopian type of future. Look, if AI is running everything and producing all materials and, well, all goods and services, that's simple. Food, water, gadgets, pens, microphones, laptops. If they're making it all, but nobody has a job, who are they making it for? The class system is going to fall apart quickly, especially here in America, because if we get to that dystopian point and we all have the American attitude of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and there's nothing to pull yourself up to, there aren't any jobs, now what? Nobody can spend money that they're not making. Nobody can spend money where they're not. If you don't have a job, you can't purchase these products. So who are the factories and AI making the products for? There's a huge shift coming. I hit retirement age this year, and I'm not planning on retiring. I really, really enjoy working. It's something that I'm happy to do on a daily basis. I'm looking forward to it today, but I don't want to retire. I don't want to quit. I really like what I'm doing. Most people don't want to do my job, but I like it. So the question is, how do we deal with this? How do we make this future feasible so that everybody, no matter what your political point of view, but everybody has the ability to sustain a lifestyle? And as I look down the road, and as I recall that talk show host talking about, we can't just give people money, that's communism. That's what I'm talking about. We all have to change our outlook on how this is going to work. So the name of the movie was WALL-E. We need to be very careful that we don't become the people that was on that, I guess it was an animated movie. We don't become that group of people that was on that spaceship. We don't want to be just fat, lazy robots do everything for us. Also, we don't want to live in a dystopian future where we're all struggling just to survive. We don't want to live in the Terminator future. And we don't want to live in one of those dystopian futures where there is a extremely well-off class of people, and the rest of us are just paupers struggling to find the next meal. We have to be very forward thinking and try and understand that this is a change. And this is a change like humanity has never faced before. This isn't just replacing a horse. This isn't just replacing a typewriter. This is replacing labor. This is taking all means of making a living out of the hands of people. And it's either going to be one of those dystopian futures that I've described or you've seen in movies, or something else. Question is, are we going to take this bull by the horn and fix it as it begins to deteriorate society? Leaders of industry have got to stop and think. How are they going to make this right? And I think the transition has got to be something along the lines of, I'm not sure, but just to kind of ease the pain for those captains of industry who have never faced the idea of this kind of future coming to fruition. It has to be something that eases them out of their mindset of you have to earn it and into the mindset of a more globalist way of thinking, which it's going to be so messed up because competition is no longer going to be between nations. It's going to be between data centers, basically between AIs. And if we let that run amok, man, we're screwed. We're not going to have a future. We have got to get this under control. So one of the podcasts I was listening to said that we could be within 18 months of 90% of people being out of work. I think that's a little bit exaggerated. I'm not sure. I'm a truck driver. I don't know what's going on in technological industries that might force this. What I do know is eventually that's going to happen. And how are we going to react? Is that 10% that is left employed going to look down at the 90% that are unemployed and say, what a bunch of losers? Are they going to say, we're not supporting you, find your own way? We're going to have choices to make, and those choices are going to be harsh. We need to make this a peaceful transition, and you captains of industry need to figure out how to do this. I think perhaps one of the ways to do this is for every 2 people that are put out of work because of AI, these companies that are doing it should probably be required to pay one person a full salary. At that point, we're going to slowly start to, you could do that with a lottery. That way there's no, I don't know. I tell you what, this is going to be such a harsh time in humanity's future. With the attitudes people have right now and their inability to find peace within themselves and their inability to accept that this may not be a competitive endeavor, this may be something for humanity to take on as a whole, I just don't see them doing it. This is going to be harsh. What are your thoughts? How do you think we can tackle this? Because we got people on the right that are saying we'll never support anybody who's not working. And coming up fast is the inability. There's just not going to be jobs to have. Are you going to let all those people starve to death? One of the things we have here in America, and all of this comes into play, all of the politics of this come into play. But one of the things we have here in America is the Second Amendment. I'm exercising the First Amendment right now, but the Second Amendment says we're armed. We have weapons. If that political elite, the capitalist elite, those with all the money, decide that, yes, we're going to let it go the dystopian route, perhaps the only thing that's going to keep them from doing that in the immediate future is the fear. Tyranny is kept in check by the threat of violence. And perhaps that is something that will keep them in check for a while. But eventually, those robots will be more effective than any gun. This is really kind of mind-blowing to me. This morning, I woke up with this on my mind. Like I said, I don't see a great future. We can be entering into an ultra enlightened stage of humanity, or we could hit one of those dystopian bumps that we often have to go through. It's very difficult. It's hard to imagine where we're going. There are so many choices that can be made, and really all those choices they're out of the hands of us little guys. I mean, just here locally, we witnessed the people of this area begging the county commissioners to not build the data centers in our area because we don't want our water and electrical bills to go up. And of course, they ignored that, and we're getting, I think, between 3 and 5 of those mega centers right here. And we're not they don't bring employment to the area. Yeah, they bring employment initially while they're building it. There's not a lot of builders in our area that have that kind of technological know-how. So all these people are going to be coming from out of town. As a matter of fact, as someone who deals with construction sites on the regular, most construction personnel are not local. They bring them in from everywhere. And I don't care if they're here legally. They all have Mexican accents. What can you do? I just don't see a good future right now. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. This is kind of a dark subject as we come up on the weekend, but yeah, this is what I do here. Share your thoughts with me. Tell me, do you think we're in for a bumpy ride, or do you think humanity is going to rise to the level that will allow us to advance as a species? Or do you think we're going to become that Terminator style future? Is it going to be Wall-E or Terminator? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this talk, like and subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope I didn't give you too heavy to think about, but please think about it. Ask yourself, if there aren't any jobs to be had, what are you going to do? I hope you have a great day. I hope you go out and you find peace, love, and dream. Until next time, ciao.